Welcome to the event committee at Cincinnati Animal Care Humane Society. We are so happy to have you on our team, and we can't wait to start this new committee to make our events even more successful. The adoption specialist role at an event is the person who takes care of the adoption paperwork. The offsite paperwork is very easy to follow. I will explain each document and what is needed during the offsite adoption process so you can run adoptions at the event like a champ. Each dog at an event will have their own folder, which includes all of their paperwork. In the folder, you'll also find their medical records paperwork. The adopter gets to take the folder and these medical records home with them. This form will be in each folder and needs to be filled out for every dog adopted. The best way to go about this is to ask for the adopter's license and to make sure the address on the license is the most up to date. If it is not, ask them for their new address. Complete the sheet based off the license information. Make sure to ask again for that new address if the license is not correct. Once you are done filling in the information for the emergency contact on the microchip, that should be someone other than the adopter. This is in case we are not able to get a hold of the adopter, we will call the emergency contact instead. One more item to add at the bottom of this document is to note whether the person is paying with cash or credit card and also exactly what they are purchasing. So if someone is paying with cash for the adoption, the collar, a leash, and a Hamilton County license, you will write cash and then list the following: adoption, collar, leash, and license. This information is helpful for the outcomes manager when she is getting everything situated the day after the event to make sure dogs are updated appropriately in the system. The next document that you'll see in your folder will either be the pre-adopt sheet or an adoption paperwork sheet. This all depends on whether the dog you have is neutered or spayed. If the dog has not been altered yet, then you will have a pre-adopt sheet. But if the dog is altered, then you will have a full adoption contract. All pre-adopt means is that we are allowing the customer to take the dog home with them, but the dog is still technically our property because it needs to be scheduled for its spay/neuter, which is mandatory for all animals leaving the shelter unaltered. If the dog is altered, then it'll be a full adoption with ownership transferred over to the customer, and they won't have to schedule anything with us medically wise since it has all been done already. Let's take a look at the pre-adopt paperwork. You can use the other form you just filled out to plug in the information at the top of the sheet for the personal details on the adopter. For the animal's information, you'll use the medical sheet in the dog's folder that is being adopted to fill in the information, such as the animal's name, animal ID, breed, etc. Now, you'll review with the adopter by reading out loud each bullet point and have them initial. After completing all initials and reading everything necessary, have them sign and date the bottom of the page. Let the adopter know that the shelter will be in touch within 48 hours to schedule all necessary medical needs, including surgery. Now, let's take a look at the adoption paperwork. This is much more straightforward than the pre-adopt one. Please read out loud each bullet point to the adopter to make sure they understand, and then have them sign at the bottom of the form and input the animal's ID number, which again can be found on their medical sheet. If the adopter is a resident of Hamilton County, then they must purchase a Hamilton County license, which is $19.75. This is non-negotiable unless they can show that they have already purchased one that is up to date. This is what the application looks like. This will be in each folder, but make sure to only fill this out if the adopter is a Hamilton County resident. You'll fill in each section based off the dog, and it's easiest to use the medical sheet in the folder to find the age, color, breed, etc. The term will always be 1, and the fee paid will always be $19. Plug in the license number of the tag you've grabbed from the stack for this adopter and make sure to give them that tag. At the bottom for the owner info, you can grab all this information off their adoption paperwork. Make sure to have them sign, date, and include a phone number as well. Now that you've got all the appropriate paperwork filled out, gather the off-site mobile adoption person information sheet, either the adoption or the pre-adoption paperwork, and also the Hamilton County dog license application, and paperclip them all together and then place them in the folder labeled Take Back Folder. The adopter gets the dog's folder, including the medical sheet inside, which shows all their vaccinations so they can provide this to their vet. Also, it will include the dog's microchip number on that sheet, and sometimes will include the yellow tag that came with the chip. But if there is no yellow tag, that is okay, as long as there is a microchip number on the medical sheet. It just means we weren't provided a tag when this dog was microchipped. Once done with all the paperwork, all that is left is payment. We'll have a Square card reader to use, or if they are paying in cash, we'll have cash on hand at events. For the Square, there's pre-done charges set up, so you can just select each that corresponds with what they are paying for. So for a dog adoption, it would be the dog adoption $75 option, and license fee would be the license fee $19 option, the writer's fee 75-cent option, and then a leash and a collar if the adopter does not have one with them. The Square is a pretty easy program to use, and with the already added in options, it's just a few clicks and then payment. You'll use the Square whether the person is paying by credit card or cash, since there is a cash option. Once done with the transaction, it will ask how to send the receipt. Ask the adopter and then set that up, and they will be all set. Make sure to get a nice adoption photo to be sent by messenger to the Cincinnati Animal Care Facebook page. If you're busy, make sure to ask another volunteer to get that photo for you. Thank you for being a part of the event committee. Whether you're an event manager or an adoption specialist at an event, your help is always appreciated. The goal is to be able to host events in several different locations and have them solely run by volunteers. Don't worry though, I'll make sure each volunteer gets in-person training at events, especially on the adoption paperwork, so you are completely comfortable when the time comes to take over at events. I look forward to working with you all at our future events, and will continue to keep in touch via group email to appoint an event manager and an adoption specialist for our upcoming events.